Morphology, the World of Language, Group 4, Nurul, UUn, Sausan.
The background. Human life in the world requires interaction with others to make ends meet. As we know in our interaction, language is a communication tool to express our temporal needs such as talk and feelings. This fact, as the US has cited. The heartbeat. Language is a system of sound and words that humans use to express their thought and feelings. Therefore, we must learn language to understand people's thoughts and feelings. And to understand and use language, we must understand the pattern because it has spiral patterns for constructing phrases and words, such as how to define slide.
Morphology. The word morphology itself consists of two morphemes, morph plus ology. Morphemology means branch of knowledge. So, what is meant by morphology is branch of knowledge about the form word. Morphology also refers to internal grammar knowledge. Branch morphology is the science of language that studies words and words orders. In linguistic order, morphology is second only to phonology. Based on the two definitions put forward by Pihar and Gerida Laksana, it can be concluded that morphology is the study of morphemes and their arrangement and word formation. The morpheme arrangement arranged according to the morphology of a language includes all combinations that form words or parts of words. Based on these definitions, it can be concluded that morphology is a linguistic field that studies the relationship between one morpheme and another to form a word. Morpheme. Morpheme is the smallest form of language that can no longer be divided into smaller parts. For example, book if divided into bu and ok. These parts can no longer be called morpheme because they have no meaning, either lexical or grammatical meaning. Badudu in 90 and HT5, thus, morpheme is basically a small language unit that contains meaning. What kind of morpheme? Kind of morpheme. First, free morphemes. Free morphemes are morphemes that can stand alone into words without having to be tied to other morphemes. Free morphemes are divided into two, namely lexical morphemes and functional morphemes. Lexical morphemes are morphemes that can stand alone and that can convey the content of the message we convey. Divided into three, namely verbs, nouns, and adjectives. Functional morphemes are morphemes that can stand on their own but the content to be conveyed is unclear. Divided into four, namely conjunction, preposition, articles, and pronouns. Next, the second kind of morphemes, there is bound morphemes. Bound morphemes are morphemes that cannot stand alone but must be bound or attached to other morphemes. Bound morphemes are divided into two, namely derivational morphemes and inflectional morphemes.
1. Root words, also called stems. A root is the irreducible core of word, with absolutely nothing else attached to it. It is the part that's always present, possibly with some modification, in the various manifestations of a lexical. Many words contain a root standing on its own. Roots which are capable of standing independently are called free morphemes. 2. Affixes, prefixes, suffixes, infixes, and circumfixes. Affixes are bound morphemes, meaning they can't stand alone like words can. They will add to free morphemes to create new words. List the four kinds of affixes with examples from languages of the word. A. Prefixes.
Morphemes are the minimal unit of meaning in all language, and many languages have prefixes and suffixes. But language may differ in how they develop their morphemes. Morpheme that is a prefix in one language may be a suffix in another language. B. Suffixes. Suffix is a letter or group of letters attached to the end of word to form a new word or to alter the grammatical function of the original word. For example, the verb read can be made into the noun reader by adding the suffix er. Read can be made into adjective by adding the suffix able. Agus Murtoyo et al. 2012, 3-4. C. Infixes. Some languages also have infixes, morphemes that are inserted into other morphemes. An infix inserted into the root itself. Infixes are very common in Semitic language like Arabic and Hebrew, but infixing is somewhere rare in English. Slot and Tyler suggests that the only infix that occurs in English morphology is N, which is inserted before the last consonant of the root in a few words of Latin origin, on what appears to be an arbitrary basis. Circumfuses. Some languages have circumfuses, morphemes that are attached to base morpheme both initially and finally. A Muskegon language spoken in Oklahoma, the negative is formed with both a prefix ik and the suffix o. The final vowel of the affirmative is dropped before the negative suffix is added.
Derivational morphemes. The process of forming derivative words, or in other words, derivative words are a process of ordering words through add affixes to existing words or affixes. Example: postgraduate, pasca sarjana, formed from post is a prefix plus graduate is a root. Derivational morphemes are divided into 4 types, namely as follows: noun derivation, verbal derivation, adjective derivation, and the last, adverb derivation. Kinds of derivational morphemes. A. Nouns formed from derivatives that have a different meaning from the base. B. A verb formed from derivatives that have a different meaning from the base. C. Adjective formed from derivatives that have a different meaning from the base. D. Adverbs formed from derivatives that have a different meaning from the base. Inflectional morphology. Inflection is a word that has the same basic meaning or does not change the meaning of the root, while the word is used to follow the rule that come from the grammar and usage of the word. Yet another difference between inflectional and derivational is that all inflectional morphemes are productive. They apply freely to any proper basis except for irregular form such as feed, not food. Example: goes. The root word go. It is verb. After add the affix to goes, it is verb. So we can see before and after. The word class remains the same. Hierarchical structure of words. A word is not a sequence of simple morphemes just as a sentence. It's not a simple sequence of words. It has an internal structure. For example, the word unsystematic consists of 3 morphemes: un, system, and atis. The root is system, the noun to which we add the suffix atis, resulting in the adjective is systematic. To this, we add the prefix an, forming a new adjective, unsystematic.
Conclusion. Morphology is the study of the internal structure of words and the rules that make up words, while morpheme is a linguistic term for the most basic unit of grammatical form. Root is the irreducible essence of the word, without anything else attached to it. Meanwhile, affixes are bound morphemes, meaning they cannot stand alone. There are three types of affixes, namely prefixes, suffixes, infixes, and circumfixes. Derivational morphemes is the process of forming derivative words, and inflection is a word that has the same basic meaning or does not change the meaning of the root word, while the word that is used to follow the rules that come from the grammar and usage of the word.